Okay, watch this video here for Thursday, April 21st. You can see the SPY closed about where it opened, just like it did yesterday. So there was some intraday action, but the market still continues to grind higher. To me, it just feels tired, right? Because you have a ton of action up in this area, and it's come here, I don't want to say too quickly, but I mean, you could argue that from February, the lows in February, really it has been straight up. You didn't have very many red days at all. Whenever you have this kind of shape straight up to get to a lot of resistance, you're going to end up with a lot of choppy days at this point, which we are getting. So, keep that in mind. PTCT is my first. It just was on watch today, and it didn't give a trade, didn't give a setup, and it just, you have nothing but consecutive lower highs on the daily. It did touch the 8-day, close to the 20-day today. So it just goes back on bounce watch for tomorrow. I always say this, it doesn't cost me anything to have these, stock on the chart. Sometimes I'll have them 3 or 4 days in a row. They'll never give me any kind of trade. We'll find other stuff to trade or whatever. But, a bounce play may or may not bounce tomorrow, may not bounce at all. So I'll just throw them on watch. And if they give me a proper intraday setup, I can make a call and a trade on it, okay? RPRX. Again, I said this was extended, so I wanted to have it on a chart. Now today you got a gap down in a fairly narrow range. I still want to keep this on a chart just because of the crazy move it's made and the huge volume the other day. So it just goes back on bounce watch. No trades in it today. ARGS. Now, listen, there's a lot of caution involved when a stock that was 14 2 sessions ago gets down to 7 today, or almost 7, before closing out at 805. So, and on the biggest, on the biggest volume yet. So with that in mind, you want to exercise a lot of caution. There's obviously something wrong with this stock and the news behind it. Having said that, in 2 sessions, it's fallen from a high of 1346 down to 805. So it's a pretty good candidate for a bounce play. It depends on, and again, I'm a technical guy. The only time I really look for the news and try to understand it is if I'm going to play a morning gap play. I do like to know the headlines behind those. And even then, I just really need the headline, and then you can kind of gauge sentiment when you watch the stock trade. But I don't ever dig into, hey, I wonder what's wrong or what's going on in ARGS. Excuse me, I read something about layoffs. Again, I don't know enough about the company, nor since I'm a day trader, I don't want to take the time to research and try to assess how damaging the company or the news is, right? The layoffs. You just can't. You can't. You can hear news on the fly on any stock and think it's great, and it'll go the other way or vice versa. So you really have to just play the price action. But so ARGS is falling pretty far, pretty fast. A lot of times that is a good scenario for a snapback bounce. I wouldn't mind if it was red all day again tomorrow. It'll go back on bounce watch for Friday, right? So anyway, just again on a chart. BCEI had this on watch today, right? And a few people in chat gave the alert right before this thing broke out. I'll show you on an intraday basis. And I posted, I think I tweeted, I did a chat room search of BCEI because somebody asked me if I got it, and I actually didn't. I was trading something else at the time. I had a decent green day, but I didn't catch this one. But I went and did a chat room search, and you could go back and look. I put it on Stock Twits, I think, and Twitter. We had Kona and I think a couple other, Ramesh, a couple other people were posting this before it broke 255. And since we already had it on watch, and it's in a fairly tight range for the opening 30 minutes, and then starts to come back up, there were several heads up in the chat room given. Again, those people in our chat room, they don't miss much. And you can do a chat room search when anything's ripping and go back, and usually you'll see somebody posted it before the big move. So hats off to the room. So anyway, so I know some people got in right around here, and you can see what happened. It was a nice breakout. It's back on watch today because you had this high, then you had a lower high. Now you broke this lower high. So if it can get over today's high, if it can get over $3, it might just retake and break out over this 338. Having said that, I always want to caution you, this thing's been moving up for 3 days straight, so it is due for a pullback. But still, it goes on watch. FCSC. This one had a volume spike today. It's got obvious resistance at this $3 area. It did peak above it today. But if it can get above 311, above today's high, this one might break out. It's a lower float stock, so I want to watch that one. And then lastly, a very short list today, I came up with RUN, R-U-N. Just kind of in a narrow range. It made a huge move back here, and then a lower high, and then a lower high, but really nice support below because it's really been trending sideways. And I like the fact that this had a high volume red candle yesterday and then right back up today above that high. So you had a high back here of 737. Today's high 738. So I like this over 740. This one might break out, especially when you consider Solar City had a really big move today. That might get some of these smaller solars moving. So that's the list. Guys, if you're a member, I will not be there in the morning for the open. I will not be. Wayne has volunteered to go over the morning gap plays in the pre-market, and I think he'll be on the mic at the open. I hope to be there within the first hour of trading, hopefully. Got a doctor's appointment in the morning, so I won't be there for the open. But we will still have morning gap plays thanks to Wayne. All right, I'm going to quit babbling. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.